The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Once a powerful South Carolina attorney, Alec Murdaugh fell from grace after being convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul in a shocking saga of greed, lies, and family betrayal. Now serving life in prison, Murdaugh is reportedly furious over a new Hulu series about his family and his crimes. The series revisits the Murdaugh dynasty's dark legacy from privilege and corruption to murder and downfall. From his prison cell, Murdaugh insists he's being misrepresented, and the series does not accurately depict his relationship with his wife and son. Aren't those the two people he murdered in cold blood? Tonight, we take a look at the whiny words of Alec Murdaugh. But first, Latasha Daniels knocked on the door of Pastor Brodes Perry. The pastor wasn't there, but his wife Tabitha was, and she invited Latoshia inside. Then later on, the pastor returned home. It was a house full of tension. And as Latasha was being walked out, she turned and exclaimed, "You broke my heart," to the pastor, and pulled out a gun and shot him to death. Tabitha was also shot, but she survived. Now Latasha Daniels is on trial, charged with murder, and tonight we break down this love triangle and wonder, what is Latasha's defense? I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And this trial on Court TV, wow, you talk about intense. This is a case involving a love triangle, and through the years, we've seen our share of love triangles here on Court TV. You know, you go back to reasons for murder, motives for murder. This is like top of the list, right? There's money, but this is love and betrayal and jealousy and all the things that get people very emotional and get them to do things that they might not otherwise do. So, as I think about all my years here at Court TV, there are a couple of love triangles that kind of stick out to me that I always reference when I'm talking about this issue. One, of course, Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson, who was married to a wonderful woman named Lacey. And Lacey was 9 months pregnant, carrying their child, Connor. It was Christmas Eve. But for months, Scott had been cheating on Lacey with another wonderful woman who had no idea Lacey existed. Her name is Amber Fry. And Amber Fry was like head over heels for Scott. And Scott, I guess, wanted to be with Amber Fry, didn't want to be with Lacey, and knew that if she gave birth to Connor, there was no way he could break up their family. Not the golden child, Scott Peterson. He was loved by everyone in his family. He was such a great guy. So he wouldn't do that. Instead, he murdered them both. So this was a case of a love triangle where the man in the middle murders his wife to be with his mistress. But we know what happened. The mistress found out about the dead wife, and Amber Fry quickly called police and became one of the most important witnesses against Scott Peterson in that case. Now, there's another one that you may or may not have seen involving Rabbi Fred Newlander. He was a rabbi. He was married to a wonderful woman he was seeing a woman who had gone to him after her husband passed away. This woman, Elaine Sonsini, is married. Her husband passes away, so she goes to Rabbi Newlander to help officiate the funeral. And then he quickly begins to see her, and he falls in love with her. But he's married. But he doesn't want to get a divorce because he's a rabbi. It would publicly shame him. His children were already grown, so he didn't have little ones. But he would have been a disgrace in his congregation if the rabbi left his wife for another woman after cheating on his wife. So what did he do? He got somebody to murder his wife. Never paid him, by the way. He was convicted. He died in prison. So that brings us to the current love triangle involving the cheating pastor. Now, this one is different. This one is different. The first two, it was the man in the middle who is doing the killing. In this one, it's the man in the middle who gets killed. The pastor is married, but he's got a girlfriend, and the girlfriend is the one accused of murdering him. So it's a love triangle with a little bit of a twist. Julia Janae has the story tonight.
Not only have we experienced the death of Brodes Perry to violence.
On April 4th, 2019, police respond to a shooting about 30 minutes east of Memphis. Once they arrived, they found Pastor Brodes Perry with several gunshot wounds and his wife Tabitha shot in the left shoulder.
The rumors swelling around his murder leave us shocked and shaken.
According to the police affidavit, Tabitha let former acquaintance Latasha Daniels into the apartment. Once Perry arrived home, he and Daniels spoke for several minutes. As she was leaving, she pulled out a handgun and began shooting, hitting Perry 5 times and telling him, quote, "You broke my heart."
She also shot Tabitha Perry as she was kneeling beside her husband, trying to get him to quit, trying to help him, and trying to get the defendant to quit shooting. She was still on the scene with the gun when the police department arrived.
Police shot Daniels, and she was taken to the hospital for her injuries, where she attempted to get away from police. She faces charges of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, resisting arrest, and assaulting a police officer. The defense claims Daniels was in an abusive open relationship with Brodes Perry and went to the home to try and fix the relationship after he broke up with her.
This was a moment that broke between Latasha and Brodes, but it was not a moment of cool, calm judgment. It is not what that night was supposed to be. That night was supposed to be a start, not an end.
Surviving victim and wife Tabitha testified at trial that she was completely unaware of an affair between her husband and Daniels.
Love triangles. Let's talk about it. Joining me in our think tank, live in studio tonight, private investigator TJ Ward and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Noah Pines. Great to have you both here. Have you had any cases involving love triangles through the years?
Of course, Vinny. I mean, love triangle is when you think murder, it's typically love triangle. I mean, it's drug deal or love triangle. Those are the two things that happen all the time.
It becomes emotional.
Yes.
It's about more than people. What I've found in the years here at Court TV, you end up with people who otherwise might not ever commit a crime, yet they are accused of the ultimate crime.
It's crazy, right?
So this one, what are your thoughts here? What are your initial thoughts about this case and the motive? Is this a woman scorned? Is it like the classic woman scorned?
Well, when you come home and you find your girlfriend sitting talking to your wife, that's a big problem. That's a very big problem.
Would there be any way that he could kind of calm things down and smooth things out? It's a really, really uncomfortable situation. The problem is 1 out of 3 has no idea what's going on here.
Well, not only was it uncomfortable, it wasn't like he was trying to rush her out the door, right? They were hanging out, they had a drink, from what I recall, and you think he'd be like, you know what, let me get her out of the house, the apartment, do it quickly, and then deal with my wife. Although apparently the wife didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know. Let's take a listen because she testified, such an important witness in all this, right? She's the one stuck in the middle of all of this. Tabitha Archie is her name. She was also shot, but she survived. Here she is on the witness stand. Now you won't see her, but you will hear her. Let's take a look.
I invited her in and we just sat on the couch and just kind of caught up. You know, how are you? What's going on? How are the kids? You know, have you been playing tennis? Stuff like that. Just really small talk.
How long do you think that she was there prior to Mr. Perry getting home? Approximately. I mean, it's not 5 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know.
If I had to guess, I would say maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know.
And kind of describe what happened when Mr. Perry came in the door.
He came in, and he's like, I thought there was a surprise here for me. This isn't a surprise. This is an unexpected guest. Real agitated.
Did he seem to know that she would be there?
No, he didn't give away to me that he thought she would be there. So he said that, and then he was, telling me about, he had brought me some aminos or something, and just regular small talk, and then he sat down and started basically grilling her about why she was there.
Okay. And how long did y'all continue to have conversation after that?
Yeah,
anything
but it
to
was
eat, drink, anything like that?
I think they may have had bourbon. I didn't have any. I think that I'm pretty sure he offered bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long would you say that she stayed?
After he got there.
After he got there.
Maybe another 10 minutes.
And what happened?
She said, well, I'm not going to keep you guys. I'm going to, head out or whatever. So we all got up to walk to the door, and I led, and she was behind me, and he was behind her. And I walked to the door, and I'm just giving this little spiel about not speeding in the area, just making small talk as we go to the door. I open the door, and I go out. We're on the second floor, and I'm like right at the steps when I turn back, and I'm like, okay, no one's behind me. And then I see her pull out her gun and start shooting. He hit the ground, and I started running toward him, and she told me, basically back off. So I stopped, and I ran to the neighbor's door, and I banged on the door, called 911. She went back into the apartment, so I went back into the apartment because I'm just trying to figure out what is going on. Why is this happening? So I'm, screaming naturally, why is this happening? What's happening? Why are you doing this?
When you got back into the apartment, did the defendant still have the gun in her hand?
Yes.
And what was going on then?
I guess at that point, I'm basically pleading, what's happening? Why are you doing this? Please leave, and she's, kind of pacing a little bit, with the gun. At some point, the gun was reloaded.
So she fired until she ran out of bullets?
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever shot?
I was shot.
Tell me about that. When did that happen? Where were you?
Well, at some point I got on the ground, and I can't remember if I got on the ground immediately, but I was on the ground and I was kind of hovering over him, kind of in my mind. I'm like, let me cover his head, so he doesn't get shot anymore. And, she was yelling at me to move, and I wouldn't move. So I got shot.
Where'd you get shot?
In the shoulder.
Do you dispute the fact that Mr. Perry and the defendant were involved in a extramarital affair at the time this happened?
I don't now, no.
Prior to Mr. Perry's death, did you have any idea that the defendant and Mr. Perry were involved in any kind of an inappropriate relationship?
No.
Did Mr. Perry at any time have any conversation with you about he would like to have a relationship with Latasha Daniels?
No.
Did he at any time have a conversation with you about he wanted to have a relationship with anyone other than you, a sexual relationship with anyone other than you?
One time he told me about a book that he wanted me to read.
Right.
That was about the extent of it.
Is a marriage where you would agree to allow your spouse to have a sexual relationship with somebody else anything that you would ever agree to?
No.
And by saying that, does that mean you never agreed to that with Mr. Perry?
I did not.
She did not agree to it. Incredible strength on the witness stand for her, Tabitha.
Really good witness, very matter of fact, very composed.
What does the fact that she reloaded tell you?
Well, and then she got down, the wife got down to protect her husband while she was reloading the gun, and then she fired the gun and then shot her. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, reload kind of takes that whole crime of passion away.
Yes.
Like I was in the zone, because you could be like, I'm in the zone while I'm shooting, but then to stop and reload takes a little bit kind of thinking.
A little time to reflect.
A little time. I was like, all right, I stopped, and now I'm not doing it. Now I'm reloading. So it kind of takes that crime of passion, which I know we're not talking about the defense yet.
Right.
Yet.
Now, so the fact that she is the other woman, right? She is the mistress. She is the girlfriend. To me, that's an easy story to tell to the jury if you're the prosecution, right? This is as old as it gets, as a reason, a motive of why someone would do this.
Well, I mean,
why someone would plan this.
I mean, it's, Vinnie, the facts are, I don't want to say the facts are amazing because somebody's dead, but you have an eyewitness to a murder, which you don't always have. Lots of murders don't have eyewitnesses. You have an eyewitness who was there, who shot herself. She's very articulate. She's telling a great story. The prosecutor is doing a horrible job, by the way. There's no emotion. Don't call him Mr. Perry. Call him your husband.
Yeah.
You know, it's very sterile, and that's not the way the prosecutor should be doing it.
Now, at the end, she said that she would never agree to this open type of relationship. I want you to take a look at a couple of videos that the pastor made himself, selfie videos. Take a look and a listen.
Our agreements have been simple, right? No exes, nobody from Jacksonville, Florida, which is home for us, and nobody in the city that you live in, that currently live in, which means nobody in Memphis. Well, you know, I am at a place now where I want to expand this ethical non-monogamy, and I'm just, your opinion matters to me because we are in this relationship. But at the same time, like I said before the outset, I want to be respectful, but I also want to let you know that, your opinion matters. But at the same time, I don't want you to put me in a box, right? Because while we talk about it in theory, this is now the practice part. And with a Tab being perfectly fine with, the situation, because how I've handled and been honest and transparent and open with her with regard to this current relationship, me expanding it is not an issue for me. Basically, she told me, hey, we can talk about it when you think it's worth talking about. But the way that you handle this, I'm fine with not trust your judgment because you haven't given me a reason not to.
So that's the pastor explaining to his girlfriend about he and his wife's agreement for ethical non-monogamy.
How's that defined again, Vinnie?
No exes. No, I don't know. But it's ethical non-monogamy. So he's trying to explain to her something that his wife has not agreed to. So here's the question. Everyone that watches this, a lot of people watch this, all of a sudden see the pastor as the villain. All of a sudden, like he's the victim in this case. But people are perhaps perceiving him as some sort of a villain. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that she wanted to know from the wife, was this an open relationship? Did she know about her? And I think that's one of the reasons why she showed up at the door to find out if that was true.
If it was actually true about this ethical non-monogamy.
Yes.
Have you ever tried that defense? Ethical non-monogamy in a courtroom for a client.
Ask me if I ever tried that, with my wife. That's a no, Vinnie. We do not have. There is no ethical non-monogamy in our household. That's not. Don't they call that an
oxymoron?
It's like cheating, right? There's no ethical way to cheat.
Cheat, exactly.
Correct.
That's what we're talking
about. There's well, anyway, I won't get into that here.
All right. Think Tank staying with us. When we come back, we'll get to the defense. What is her defense in this case? Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, 4 bright college students, their lives cut short in a single night of unimaginable violence. Tonight we examine newly revealed evidence. Could this be the key that exposes every dark detail? Tonight we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
There was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around this relationship, though, because she knew that he was married. Now, she was in the process of a divorce, but she knew Tabitha. Brodes was interested in a unique lifestyle, something called ethical non-monogamy. Basically, what ethical non-monogamy teaches is that as long as everyone in the relationship is informed and honest, that even from a marriage, you can have extramarital relationships. Brodes told Latasha this is a lifestyle that he wanted, and that Tabitha would allow him to have it. She was willing to let him engage in this ethical non-monogamy. And Brodes told Latasha, you and Tabitha will be sister wives. You will live with us. We will have a life together. I just haven't told her yet, but I will.
Wow. They're really riding the ethical non-monogamy here. So I want you to take a listen to the defense, because what is the defense here, right? This is a murder case and an attempted murder where the survivor saw and heard everything and came into court and told the jury what she saw and heard, right? So what is the defense? Take a listen.
And on April the 4th, Latasha of 2019, Latasha opened her Confide app and saw a message from Brodes. It said something to the effect of, our time has come to an end. Around 4 o'clock that afternoon, she didn't even take her purse with her at gun store. She took her license and a debit card. She went and bought the gun to end a fight. And she knew, because they were such regular communicators, she knew that on Thursday nights, Brodes would be at the cigar lounge. So she went to the cigar lounge. And he said, you haven't been willing to do that so far. She said, well, you haven't even told Tabitha about this. You know, how can I think that you're going to be honest with me when you haven't even told her? And so Brodes said, fine. You want to tell her? We'll go tell her. Go to my apartment. Talk to her about tennis. Tell her you're in town for a convention. I've got to run an errand to Pastor Turner's house. I'll be there soon. You go tell her. Latasha said, no, you need to be the one to tell her. I'll be there. I'll go there. But we need to tell her again. And so Latasha went to their apartment, where she had never been before. He gave her the address. As she's sitting in her car, she starts having second thoughts. And she calls Brodes and says, are you sure we should do this? I'm scared, but she had so much hope at this point. She thought that things were finally falling into place, that they were finally going to tell Tabitha. They would finally be able to be openly and honestly together. And Brodes didn't answer. So Latasha went to the apartment, softly knocked on the door. Tabitha was inside, and she heard something but ignored it. So a couple seconds later, a little bit louder. So Tabitha gets up and goes to investigate, see who's at her door. She looks through the peephole and doesn't see anything. Talking through the door, she says, "You know I'm not going to open this door unless I can see you, right?" And at that point, Latasha kind of put herself into the frame of the peephole. And Tabitha says, "Latasha, is that you?" She opens the door, gives Tasha a hug, invites her in. And they talk about tennis, and they talk about her being in town for a conference. And they sit in the living room and chat. Brodes comes home a little while later, walks in, and Tabitha texted him while she and Latasha were talking, said, "I've got a surprise for you." And so he walked in, and he just said, "That wasn't the surprise I was expecting." It seemed very distant. So he sits, kind of makes an awkward conversation with Latasha, small talk, but he won't look at her. He will not acknowledge the elephant that Latasha knows is in the room. He offers her some bourbon. She says sure. Tabitha said no because she had been drinking earlier in the day, so she didn't want any more. And Brodes poured himself some. And they chatted for a few more minutes, but Brodes really started completely ignoring Latasha there. And she saw the writing on the wall that this wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going to tell her. And so she said, "You know what, I'm not going to keep you on." But she wanted to talk to him. She wanted to find out why. She said, "Brodes, walk in my car. Southern hospitality, you're the man. You know, will you walk me to my car?" He said, "No, Tabitha will walk you in." She said, "No. Be a gentleman, walk me to my car." And he said, "No, Tab will do it." And Tab got up, started walking out. She did not even understand the enormity of that moment behind her. When he wouldn't even walk outside to take a moment to talk to her. She put her hands in her pocket, and she felt the gun that was in there as she was reaching for her keys. She did not think about what was happening. This was not what she came here to do. In that moment, she broke. And she did shoot Brodes Perry. While screaming, "He broke my heart."
Okay, so what's the defense? Let's bring back in our think tank. TJ Ward, Noah Pine still with us. And joining us, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. What's the defense?
Oh, it's jury selection. The defense is jury selection. Any woman...
Broken-hearted women?
No, just any woman who knows about the pulpit and how the pulpit is like a narcissist's dream, and how, unfortunately, we do have good people and we have bad people who take that position of power and use it in a negative way. And I think women are more susceptible, are more capable of understanding and seeing the game that he's laying down. It's a tale as old as time. He uses, his proximity to God to try to just really explain away all the things that she would have normally not said yes to. So I think this type of case is literally in the nuances of just women living lives. Like, you're going to go through a situation in which somebody's going to lie to you to try to get something from you.
So it sounds like you're villainizing the victim.
I am not
Is that the
he
defense?
villainized himself.
I know, but that seems what the defense is.
No, telling the truth.
He sort of got shot.
The truth. It sounds like the truth
There's
he's
definitely
telling.
victim blaming going on in the opening.
Is it, or are we just highlighting what he did?
There's victim blaming going on in the opening. I will say that is one of the best openings
It is.
I've ever heard for the horrible facts that the defense attorney has to work with, she's very good.
Let me know, how do you overcome the fact that he had broken up with her via text, right? Which is there's gonna be an effect on her. He's breaking up with me by text.
Well, that's normal today, Vinnie. I know this.
No,
I know
it
you're not in the
She
game anymore.
No, that's
She goes to a store to purchase a gun. That's what do you call that? Premeditation. That's what we call it. But it was to take her own life.
Yes.
But wait a minute. Then she goes to his apartment and goes inside his apartment and brings the gun with her.
all right. I have to be okay. So I don't want to be.
There she is buying the gun, by the way, folks.
I am not trying
That's
to be-
premeditation.
I am not trying to be the expert of women scoring, but you can tell when you're going through the different stages of grief, and he made her, and you could tell just by the opening, he sold her dream, and how he breaks the dream off is through text.
Right, so
you
she
didn't
gets angry.
even respect. No, the levels of disrespect is unheard of. You mean to tell me we're doing all of these things, I'm doing all the planning, and you're via text?
If this was the People's Court and everybody
It's
was alive,
almost
yes,
foreseeable.
But it's criminal court,
Tennessee,
and he was shot and killed.
Yes, because it's Tennessee, and you have that right to carry arms. Again, you should.
And the
There
wife
are
who got
consequences.
shot?
There are
What's that
consequences.
defense, Eklund?
The defense is, I think
She
that
got in the way of the bullet?
No,
that I
I
was trying
think
to
that
shoot him
he
with?
brought her there on purpose. Personally, just based off of what I'm seeing, I personally think he brought his wife there on purpose, thinking that she's not going to, or if she were to do something, it would be against her and not against him. He never considered that he would be the one shot.
Victim.
You
I
agree,
think
TJ?
that he never considered.
That's a possibility, and I think that was one of his plans, that he would be the good guy out of this after he.
The pastor.
Yes, the pastor would be the good guy,
So-
and then turn around and be the victim.
I see that. So if this jury looks at the case and says he's an awful man, he played with her mind, do they cut her some break?
Yeah.
They don't send her home.
I don't think they're going to send her home. I don't, you know what? I don't know. I've had cases in which people have seen, like, there's no other, like, I have seen, well, just based on the indictment, I have seen certain cases in which juries feel like, in that situation,
What would I do?
what would I do?
Okay.
Probably
All right. Tank.
wouldn't go buy a gun and go over and
That's the
kill some
problem.
guy and then shoot his
That's the
wife,
problem.
who's an innocent victim, no
All
matter
right.
what.
All right, Think Tank staying with us, folks. I got an update for you in the Courtney Clenny case down in Florida. They had a short hearing today, and they basically had a hearing to reset the day for the hearing. So they set a status hearing for December the 5th as we wait and wait and wait for a firm trial date in this case that has been lingering now for years. Of course, when anything happens on this case, you'll hear it from us right here. Okay, when we come back, Alec Murdaugh back in the news. He doesn't like the new show on Hulu about him and his family. You'll hear some of his whining words when we return.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
No, I did not kill Maggie. I did not kill Paul. I would never hurt Maggie, and I would never hurt Paul. Ever. Under any circumstances.
Never forget that trial and those moments when he was on the witness stand just spewing lies in front of the jury as boogers came out of his nose. Alec Murdaugh. So now there is this new show. The Murdaugh Family Murders has been adapted into a scripted series on Hulu. The title of it is Murdaugh, Death in the Family, and it's been getting a lot of buzz. Take a look at part of the official trailer, and then I'll tell you what Alec Murdaugh himself had to say about this new show.
Find her? One's still missing. You get these kids to keep their mouths shut, and the parents too.
How bad is this for us?
I'm working on a story. The Murdaughs have a history of trying to cover things up.
You happen to run into any of Mr. Alec's medication?
You think he's taking it again?
What else is there that I don't know about?
We got to have each other's backs. Family first.
Whew. All right, so here's a statement from Alec Murdaugh and his attorneys. Alec is deeply disappointed and disturbed by the recent Hulu streaming series about him and the entire Murdaugh family. The program contains numerous inaccuracies and misleading portrayals that distort the truth of their lives. The depiction of their personal family dynamics is particularly troubling as it totally mischaracterizes Alec's relationships with his wife Maggie and his son Paul, both of whom Alec loves so dearly. Alec was always extremely proud of Paul. Any other portrayal of his feelings towards Paul and Maggie are baseless and false. Equally concerning is the lack of engagement by the producers or actors to understand the individuals portrayed. No one from Hulu ever reached out to Alec, his son Buster, or anyone in the Murdaugh family or Alec's attorneys to hear their perspective or verify the facts. Instead, the program appears to rely heavily on sensationalized accounts from secondary sources with no direct knowledge or relationship with him or his family. We urge viewers to approach this dramatization with the knowledge that it is not an accurate portrayal of Alec, his family, or the tragic events that it sensationalizes. Wow. Let me show you a scene from this show here from Murdaugh Death in the Family depicting Alec, Maggie, and Paul on vacation, which was featured in the accompanying podcast from Hulu on YouTube. Take a look at this.
You got any idea what this thing costs? Hey, how hard I got to work to bring you on a trip like this?
I didn't ask.
All you got to do is to sit back and enjoy yourself. But I know you got to be a little, in case for 1 minute, we all forget what a gigantic up you really are.
If I'm such a up, why'd you give me the keys to the boat?
All right.
I've got questions, Vinny.
What questions?
One, how long do you think they decided whether it was going to be loves or loved his family in the first paragraph you read? Did you catch that? It was loves in the present tense versus loved in the past tense.
Good eye.
I bet you that was an hour-long conversation. Two is, who really gives a crap what Alec thinks while he's sitting in prison? Like, okay, you don't like the way that they're portraying you. Well, and they're not saying it's accurate. They're saying it's a Hollywood dramatization.
But we got to see it like in real time in a trial over the course of 3 months.
Yeah.
Like we know who the guy is. He had a chance. He told his story. The jury rejected it, and I think most of America rejected it.
Mm-hmm. I think that in his mind, because, you know, once an attorney, always an attorney, I really think that in his mind there's going to be a retrial. You know,
and he's worried about the jury pool.
Yes, he is really, and that's the thing, like how it's written, he believes that there are going to be a box of 12 again. Like how he is walking, how he is moving.
Well, I will say this, though. I will say this. There is an actual issue, which was the clerk of the court
and it was amazing.
Talking to the jurors about testimony and to read body language, etc. I mean, that's crazy stuff. That's crazy. I still don't think they're going to give him a new trial, but it is an actual issue that he's probably hanging on to. So, has anyone watched it in detail?
I have. I didn't think I was going to like it. Like, I never watched the OJ or Menendez because I felt like I lived through those and I don't want to rehash something. But I gave it a shot. It's really good. And again, I don't know how much is true or not, but you really do.
The part where he kills Maggie and Paul, that part is true.
I haven't gotten to that part yet, but okay. you do understand a lot more about Paul. And, you know, Paul in the news was kind of portrayed, you know, in a bad light. And you see him much more as a kid, a human who's dealing with a dad who is sociopathic and psychopathic, and probably one of the reasons why Paul ended up the way he ended up. And not the dead part, like getting in trouble and drinking and that kind of stuff. So I think it's entertaining, it's good, it's kind of cool to see people portray.
And it comes from the perspective of one of the reporters who broke the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see Mandy and how she's portrayed, Mark Tinsley and Liz, and
And these folks know more about the case than anyone else who covered it. They were there in the beginning. They're from there. They're talking to the people. So I think that part comes out as well. But I guess he gets to watch it in jail? They give him tablets? They give him streaming service?
You got an illegal jail phone, probably.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Absolutely, contraband.
All right. Well, a big thank you, T.J. Ward, Eklund Mercy, and of course Noah Pines. Great to have you here. Carry on. We got a programming note. This is important, folks. Tomorrow morning on Opening Statements with Julie Grant, Murdaugh's attorney Dick Harpootlian talks to Julie about his client's thoughts on the Hulu series. So set your alarms now, okay? That's going to be amazing. That's right here on Court TV tomorrow morning at 8. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, DNA, cell phone data, a car in the night, and now evidence from the case file being made public for the first time in the Idaho 4 murders. We uncover the clues prosecutors say brought justice for Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. Could the mystery of Moscow, Idaho finally be revealed? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Hot car dad found dead. Christopher Schultes, who pleaded guilty in the hot car death of his 2-year-old daughter, has died by suicide. He pleaded guilty, was due in court and to be taken into custody today, but the coward took his own life. Let's not forget he left his 2-year-old girl, Parker, for 3.5 hours in a car, 100 degrees in Arizona, while he was inside drinking, playing video games, and watching pornography. And then when he got arrested, he was complaining about how he was being treated. Take a look.
I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're going to have to stand by with you for a while. All right?
Is there a reason why?
So any death, we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that.
He was set to serve 20 to 30 years in prison, but that's all done now. All right, take a look at your screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. Please take a look at Matthew Lewis, 14 years old, missing out of Goshen, Mississippi since October 30th. Take a look at the photo. If you see Matthew, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference, 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Goshen Police Department in Mississippi. That number is on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Matthew to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids. There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.